Level 1. The neighborhood. You don't choose the Mafia. The Mafia chooses the neighborhood, and the neighborhood chooses you. You're 17. You grew up in Palermo's Palermo market, where the fish vendors know your name and the men in good suits know your father's name. Your father drove a delivery truck for 30 years. Honest work, he called it. Honest work that kept the electricity cut twice a year and your sister in shoes 2 sizes too small. The men in suits don't drive delivery trucks. You notice this early. You notice everything early, which is why Enzo notices you. Enzo is 32, runs the corner near the tobacco shop, and never raises his voice. Men twice his age step aside when he walks. He doesn't ask you to do anything illegal the first time. He asks you to deliver a package to a butcher 3 streets over. The package weighs almost nothing. The butcher gives you 40 euros and doesn't ask questions. You give 30 of it to your mother and say you found work helping at the market. She doesn't ask questions either. This is how it starts. Not with a gun, not with an oath. With 40 euros and a mother who needs the money more than she needs the truth. Enzo uses you 4 more times that month. Small deliveries, envelopes. Once, a phone you're told to drop in a trash bin on Via Roma after making a single call to a number you'll never dial again. You're not in the Mafia. You're just useful. There's a difference. For now. Level 2. The association. 6 months later, Enzo introduces you to his uncle. The uncle's name is Don Salvatore, and he receives you in a dining room that smells like Sunday ragu and cigarettes. He's 61, heavy-set, with hands that look like they've done things hands shouldn't do. He pours you espresso without asking if you want it and asks about your family, your father, your sister, the school you stopped attending. He listens like what you say matters. Nobody has ever listened to you like that. This is the first technique. Attention as recruitment. You feel seen by a man who sees hundreds of young men just like you every decade, each one thinking they've been recognized as special. You are not special. You are available, and in this world, available is enough to begin. Don Salvatore explains nothing explicitly. There is no contract, no speech about loyalty or omertà. There is only a simple arrangement. You work for Enzo's crew, you earn, you say nothing to anyone, and the neighborhood stays safe. His word. As if the neighborhood's safety depends on his generosity rather than his control. You understand this later. Not now. Now you're earning 300 euros a week collecting debts from shopkeepers who owe money to men they borrowed from during hard times. You don't hurt anyone. You stand in doorways and look serious while Enzo talks. Your presence is the message. At 17, you're already 6 feet and built like your grandfather, who was a boxer in Catania before the war. Your body is your first asset in this business. The shopkeepers pay. Every single one. Because not paying means the next visit is different, and they know what different looks like. You don't have to explain this. The context explains itself. You stop thinking about delivery trucks. Level 3. The earner. 22. You have an apartment, a car, and a reputation that moves through the Palermo faster than news. You're not a soldier yet in the formal sense, but you function like one. Your crew handles 3 revenue streams. Protection fees from the market vendors, a cut from the heroin distribution that passes through the port twice monthly, and a construction company that exists entirely on paper but wins city contracts worth 400,000 euros a year. The money is real, the company is not. This is the Mafia's primary genius. It doesn't only steal. It infiltrates the legitimate world so completely that the legitimate world can't function without it. The city councilman who signs the contracts attends Don Salvatore's nephew's wedding. The police lieutenant who could investigate the port operation grew up 2 streets from here and knows which side of the arrangement keeps his own family comfortable. The system isn't corrupt. The system is the point. You understand this now with a clarity that would disturb you if you let it. You don't let it. You're earning, your mother moved to a better apartment, your sister is studying in Naples. This is what the delivery truck couldn't provide. Then comes your first act of violence. A distributor named Caruso skimmed 30,000 euros from a shipment and thought a move to Catania would resolve the accounting problem. You and 2 others find him in a bar in Catania on a Tuesday afternoon. You don't kill him. You break 3 fingers on his right hand while Enzo explains the repayment schedule. Caruso cries. You feel nothing, which terrifies you on the drive back. You don't tell anyone it terrified you. You understand instinctively that in this world, what you feel and what you show are 2 different ledgers. You learn to keep them separate. This skill will cost you everything slowly over the next 20 years, but right now it just feels like discipline. Level 4. The Made Man. The ceremony happens in a basement room with 7 men, a saint's image, and a burning piece of paper in your palm. You repeat words in Sicilian dialect that bind you to this thing until death. Not metaphorically. The men in this room have killed people for violations of what you're swearing right now. You know this. You swear anyway, because you've already been living by these rules for 5 years, and the ceremony is just paperwork for something that was already true. You're 26. a full member of the Cosa Nostra. What changes? Everything and nothing. You now sit at the table when decisions are made. You have a vote, a voice, a status that extends beyond Palermo. Travel to Rome, to Milan, to certain neighborhoods in New York and New Jersey where men you've never met treat you like family the moment they understand what you are. What doesn't change? You still collect, still manage, still solve problems with whatever tool the problem requires. The suit gets better. The work stays the same. Don Salvatore is 67 now and moving slower. His son Marco runs more of the daily operations, and Marco is not his father. Marco is impatient, suspicious, and spends money on displays of wealth that draw exactly the kind of attention the organization has survived 2 generations by avoiding. New cars, nightclubs, an Instagram account managed by a girlfriend who doesn't understand what she's photographing. You tell Enzo that Marco is a problem. Enzo tells you to say that to exactly nobody else. You understand. You wait. Level 5. The wait. 38. You run 3 crews, oversee the port operation and 2 legitimate businesses, a restaurant and a logistics company, that generate clean revenue. You have a wife, 2 children, a house in the hills outside Palermo with a view that costs more than most people earn in a decade. From the outside, you are a successful businessman whose father drove a delivery truck. From the inside, you haven't slept past 5 in the morning in 11 years. You wake with the specific anxiety of a man who carries other men's secrets, other men's crimes, other men's lives in his memory. You know where bodies are buried, literally. 3 of them, decisions from years ago that you were present for and can never speak of to anyone, including the priest you stopped seeing because confession became its own liability. Marco was dealt with 2 years ago, not by you, by the organization itself, through channels you weren't involved in but knew about in advance. He's alive, running a restaurant in Bologna, stripped of everything, grateful to be breathing. You never mention his name. Your oldest son, 15, is starting to notice things. The way certain men greet you, the calls you take in other rooms, the deference that follows you through the neighborhood like a second shadow. He asks you once, directly, sitting across from you at dinner, what do you actually do? You tell him the logistics company, the restaurant, the investments. He looks at you the way you once looked at your father, searching the answer for the part that's missing. You recognize the look. You change the subject. Level 6. The ceiling. This is what nobody tells you about the top of this world. It's the most exposed position. Below you, men have bosses to blame, chains of distance that protect them in courtrooms. At your level, the chain ends with you. The magistrates who have been building the case for 7 years don't need to climb the ladder. They just need the ladder to shake once. 1 informant, 1 intercepted call. 1 man who decides that 30 years in prison outweighs loyalty to a tradition that never gave him what it promised. The call comes on a Wednesday. A lawyer you trust tells you there's a sealed indictment, 12 counts. Association with criminal organization, drug trafficking, extortion, 2 counts adjacent to the murders you were present for but didn't commit. You sit in your car outside your daughter's school and watch her through the windshield for 20 minutes. She's 12. She has your eyes and her mother's laugh, and she has no idea what the next 6 months will look like. You have 3 options. You know them without being told. You can run. There are structures for this, properties in other countries, arrangements made decades ago for exactly this scenario. You can stay and fight the case, which will take years, drain everything, and end in a sentence that depends entirely on how many others are willing to fall with you. Or you can talk, which is not an option, which has never been an option, which would make you the thing this world hates most completely. You don't run. You don't talk. You drive home and sit at the dinner table and eat the meal your wife made and listen to your children argue about something on television. Tomorrow the lawyers will begin the work that costs €2,000 a day. Tonight, you are still just a man eating dinner in the house he built from nothing, in the neighborhood that built him from less. The sentence, when it comes, is 22 years. You will be 60 when you walk out, if you walk out. Your son will be 37. He drives a delivery truck now, by his own choice, and you understand something about that choice that you can't say out loud without it costing you more than the sentence already has. Some things take a generation to correct. Some things take longer.